Welcome to the Marble Sports Worldwide Podcast, where we discuss and analyze your favorite marble sports. From JMR Marble League to Algodo tournaments, we'll make sure you never miss the action. All marble sports, all the time, right here on the MSW Podcast.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Marble Sports Worldwide Podcast. My name is Brendan.
And I'm Commander Wof.
We are coming at you on another Monday night, but for the people who listen to the recording, it's probably Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, or even next Monday on a bad week. You know how it goes. But you can check out the live shows, 9 p.m. Eastern Time, Monday nights, at least currently. On the YouTube, MSW Marble Sports Worldwide is the name of our YouTube. And, of course, you can join our Discord server, and we go live right in there. And you can listen live, you can chat with us live, and we may look at your comments while you chat. Anyways, a lot to say today. I do want to start by mentioning today I got in my little car that housed my marble from NASMARB. And if you don't know what NASMARB is, if you've listened to the show, you do know. Run by this channel, Marbles Beyond. Go check them out. It's marbles within cars, and there's a hole cut in the bottom of the car so the marbles can actually roll on the ground and affect the movement of the car. And I sponsored a car in that, and it was very well designed. And just so I would always have this very unique piece of history, I ordered the car for after he finished filming the races. He sent it over, so I have the car. It's beautifully designed. It's a nice little Matchbox car, and I will show it off on the camera when we go live after the news on the YouTube, where we have the visual. So if you're listening, you can go listen to the YouTube for after the news, and you can see I'll show off the car to you guys. Well, if anything you want to say before we head to the news.
Yes. So just to kind of explain last week's episode's ending, just because a certain fan did ask for something specific, and it's resulted in some interesting situations. So if you remember Alex or one of our emailers, they asked they wanted MFA to sing "Never Gonna Give You Up" by Rick Astley, and well, if you've listened to the last episode, you will realize that I did that instead, and I'm sure, he sent another email today, he didn't mention it at all, so either he's really understanding or he hasn't heard it yet, but to kind of explain why that happened, no, I did not take his idea from him to just spite him. I recorded that almost 2 months ago at the same time that I recorded another cover, and I didn't I wasn't doing it to steal the role from MFA or whatever. I had that plan for so long, and it's such a mixed situation. I remember when I got the first email from Alex, I said "Wolf, will you sing Never Gonna Give Up?" I was so excited, oh my gosh, this works so perfectly. But just by random chance, he's oh, I can't wait for him to actually hear us, because he didn't realize that he didn't know that I was gonna do it, but I was oh man, he's gonna be so happy when he finally hears it. But then he's I want MFA to do it. Oh no, now this is just awkward. And it's so I was definitely worried the entire time. Well, now I'm is he gonna be upset? Now because I had this plan a long time ago, and he's I'm not gonna change it now. I already did it, so it's but I mean, Alex, if you're listening to this episode, I'm sorry, but that's how it was. That's how it worked out. It was just by complete happenstance that it happened the way, But also, it's the Wof Tunes. It's kind of, it's also my thing. It's there were multiple reasons why.
Hey Wof, I really don't think you have to defend this, man. This is your thing. You sang a song for us. We enjoyed the song. You have been going for about 2.5 minutes on this. I just want to point that out. So, yeah, I mean, I would say, yeah, I don't think there's any need for Wof to defend this. It's what he does. I mean, he does the Wof Tunes. He's done it multiple times before.
I don't think I need to defend why I do it, but like I definitely need to defend the fact like I didn't steal the idea from him.
No,
like,
I don't think anyone thinks you. I hope not. I mean, it
well,
was
MFA did actually. So
okay. Well, no, that did not happen. It was recorded way in advance. It just happened to be very coincidental that Alex suggested that for MFA on the same week that Wof was releasing that recording. So, with that being said, quite an explanation there, Wof, but I think we have the gist. And we're going to head to the news in a second. But I want to remind you of something that I said last week, and we're going to discuss this more after the news and the bulk of the show, but I'm going to remind you of it. Okay. Last week, when we were talking about the Savage Speeders, the talk of Marbula 1 right now, absolutely. The most important topic of right now in Marbula 1. I said that there would be two possibilities, two possible courses of action that the Savage Speeders would take between race 2 and, of course, going forward into the rest of the races. And then number 1 was that they would continue to tank, that it would be just worse and worse. They would not even qualify. They would continue to get last place, 15th place at best. And they would just not have a year that you would even notice they're even in the race. Or, and I said there was another option, number 2, I said that they would act like the first 2 races didn't even happen. Come out and completely destroy the competition looking like you've never seen them before. Now, we're only 1 race into that future that I projected. And so we will have to discuss where we think we're going to see the Savage Speeders over the next few races. But as you might imagine, if you watch the previous race in Marbula 1, I'm certainly leaning one way more than I'm leaning the other with those 2 extreme possibilities on the future of the Savage Speeders. So we're going to get into that. And we're going to get into some other things. We have usual trivia, and also we have many emails from fans. 3 emails today. So that's a new record for us since we started the email thing. And I do want to remind you, if you're out there and if you listen to the show, if you're a long-time listener, if you're a short-time listener, if you first time, whatever, you can email the show at mswpodcast@gmail.com. That is mswpodcast@gmail.com. And you can send us anything. You can send us opinions on marble sports, ask questions, ask for advice, give us thoughts, whatever. Talk to us, say anything, and we will read it out here on the show. And the emails have increased over the last couple of weeks, and I'm very happy to have this fan engagement aspect of the show each week with you guys and the email. So keep sending emails if you sent some already. We love the weekly emails if you can afford time to make them. And if you haven't sent an email, don't be scared to send one. It's an email. It's not anything more scary than that. So with those things being said, we're going to head to the news, and we're going to come back, and we're going to analyze marble sports.
Hello, Marble sports fans. I am Smooth Johnny Marble, bringing you the news for MSW. Now, forgive me for being smooth once again, but all that yelling at the Thanksgiving dinner table has really ruined my voice. So, please enjoy this smooth and easy version once again. So, race 3 of Marbula 1, the Honey Dome, was a great turnaround for the Savage Speeders as they started this race in the pole position and held on to second place out of the gate. The battle was close, and in the end, Speedy took first, followed by Starry in second, and Yellow Eye coming in at third. Next up in our news is race 7 of NASMARB, the Vortex 720. It was a tough race with many DNFs throughout it, but the MSW teams once again didn't do so well, with Spitzer losing in the first round and Quillo losing in the second, leaving their chances of moving on to the playoffs more uncertain as we go. But on a more positive note, the finals were an intense and exciting battle for victory. While they put up a good fight, Electro took home the gold. This left Oak and Murakami to fight for the silver, and after one more race, Murakami took second, leaving Oak to take the bronze home. Only one more race remains before the playoffs, so the marbles below the cutoff line really need to bring their A game if they want to have a shot at moving on. Well, listeners, I have been Smooth Johnny Marble. And you, my dear listener, you have been the best fan in the world. Let's kick it on back now and continue on with the podcast.
Welcome back from the news, everybody. Thank you, Johnny Marble, for that another awesome news segment. Did he do jazz this time, Wof? Was it a jazzy feel again this week, or not so much?
I can't tell you. It's up to Johnny Marble. That was all him. I did not plan that at all. Like he's like whenever Johnny wants to have fun, I just kind of roll with it, and I try to
get it roll. Get it roll.
Ha ha. But yeah, I found that special background music to fit it. I made that. Nice. I gave him the sunglasses. I wanted to just make it nice. And I was really happy with how it turned out.
Yeah, I really enjoyed the creativity shown in the recent Johnny Marble episode of the news. So as I promised, I'm going to begin very quickly here in the beginning of the bulk of the episode by showing off the car from Marbles Beyond that I just got in, and then of course we will dive in the episode. So if you're not listening on the YouTube, maybe just for a second go over the YouTube so you can see that me on the camera. I'm about to show the car here. I'm hoping I can show it as best I can. Here it is. I'm trying to hold it in the best way. You can see the different angles of it. I have the number 9. It has the MSW logo on. If you look right here, MSW logo.
That's really cool.
It's very well made. Actually, this won the Best in Show and Design on the Marbles Beyond design contest. I didn't design it, of course, but whoever Hershey who did, I guess, the best job with this in everyone's opinion. So very well made. You can even see the MSPN there. On the back there, so obviously just very well made. The marble goes in the bottom. You see in the bottom here, the marble goes right there, and that's how the marble rolls with the ground with the car and determines the direction it will go. So you can see all that there. So great. Check out Marbles Beyond. Check out NASMARB. I do, of course, endorse that channel and its amazing, groundbreaking content. Anyways, guys, we're gonna jump into today's chat. And we always start each race discussion with our update on the fantasy teams, which will most certainly, considering that the Savage Beaters are in both of our fantasy teams, roll us right into the Savage Beaters discussion. So, Wof, want to start us off? Fantasy a success this week.
So, it is still a success, I would say. It's each time, my points haul has gotten lower and lower by just a little bit each time.
That's what I like to hear.
But it is still significant enough that I'm still currently 7th place at 292 points. So, and I got so last week I got 95. This week I got an 89. So it's not a big drop, but it is still noticeable. It is still it's a steady decline with each race. Yeah,
right.
Momo still got me 174 total still, just really raking them in for me. Raspberry Racer really did a decent job this past race, so got me something finally. Savage Beaters, they came out and won it, got 26 points there. Mini Maniacs, at least they qualified, so I got 6 points from that. And then Cat's Eyes once again was doing incredible as well. I think they fell down a little bit towards the end, right?
No. They were well. They were top 3 still, right?
Yeah,
Crazy Cat's Eyes scored a 17-point lot there in race 3, yeah. And I believe that means they have completed the cycle. They have golded, silvered, and then bronzed in the first 3 races in Marbula 1. I believe that's what it is, right? 25, 2017. Those are the gold, silver, bronze points, right? I think that's correct. 25, 20. Oh, yeah. Okay. 25, 2016, except they got the fastest lap point. So, they've been on fire this year. And I would be very surprised if we didn't see a couple other golds this year from the Crazy Cat's Eyes. I mean, honestly, if you look back on Marbula 1 Season 1, the Crazy Cat's Eyes may be performing even better than the Savage Speeders once performed in Season 1. I'd have to go check those stats. I'm not 100% sure. Maybe I will pull those up. But anything you want to finish regarding your fantasy?
I only that I really regret putting Minty Maniacs on my team. Like I thought that for a reason I thought they were in season 1. I don't know why.
I don't know
but
what
for
you were
some
thinking,
reason
man.
I thought they were there, and I was thinking back to like the ending of Marble League 2020. That's what I was thinking of. Like oh, they did good in that race. But it's like, wait a minute, that's not M1 though.
Yeah.
What are you doing,
Yeah.
Wolf?
Yeah, you were extrapolating Marble League performances onto Marbula 1, and that is a
It wasn't that I was
mistake.
extrapolating. It's that I completely I thought for some reason that the end of Marble League was an M1 race.
Oh, that's
for
true. You
some
might have
reason.
just somehow just forgot that. But yeah, either way, not the best decision fantasy-wise, in my
Wish
opinion.
I picked
at
Snowballs.
least.
Snowballs would have been
Snowballs would have been a better pick every day of the week. But anyway,
Yeah.
actually, I'll talk a little bit about my fantasy now, and then a couple of other things I noticed that we'll jump into. My fantasy did well. I have 93 points on the race, so not bad. My highest points haul so far this season. That's because not only did the Savage Beaters come out and completely tear up the competition, getting all of the points that they currently have in this one race, but the Snowballs did well. They finished around 7th or 6th or something like that. They got 8 points, so that was a 24 with a ×3 multiplier. Crazy Cat's Eyes were up there. Green Ducks were a couple points. Hazers, again, not very good. They came through with 0 points again on the race. They only have 2 to their name, and we will talk about the Hazers in a moment as well. But my current standing, I believe I'm 29th. I'd have to go quickly check. If I go here, yes, I am 29th. I'm at 210 points, and 356 is the top points, but within the top 5, it already drops into the 200s. I want to take a moment here before I get into Savage Beaters to talk about my expectations for fantasy, because obviously everybody's got different expectations. Someone just coming into Marble League or Marbula 1, who just found out about the Fantasy League. With the 282 teams that are competing this year, I would say some of them are going to be just happy to be in the top 100, happy to be in the top 50. All right? It's different for me because I consider myself, at the very least, a budding marble sports connoisseur, possibly a true marble sports connoisseur. Wof considers me such. And so with that, experience and the fact that I've been doing the podcast for this long, and I hope Wof would be the same way since he's been with me pretty much the whole time. My expectations on fantasy are I will have a satisfactory fantasy league year if I finish in the top 10%. That will be satisfactory to me. Top 5% would be a happy finish, more than satisfied. I'm like, yeah, this is good. And the top 1% would be like, I'm very, very happy, impressed, great. I'm like ecstatic, you could say, about it. So I don't know where you stand on that, Wof, but I definitely stand where my expectations are that with my current experience, I should be able to at least slide into the top 10% fantasy-wise. What do you say?
Top 10% is 28th place and up. I believe you're still there. I think you're. Are you 29th?
I'm 29th. No, I'm talking about by the end of the season. So I mean, it's okay now.
I know. Yeah. I'd say that's a fair assumption, especially since I think I've only ever finished middle of the pack as my best.
Middle of the pack, and your team name's the Wof Pack. He's here, by the way. But yeah, that's.
But I'm in 7th. Like, this is the best I've ever done in any fantasy thing ever. So
yeah, and you're going strong. As long as Momo keeps rolling, you'll keep rolling. And so, okay. Anyway, what I'm saying here is that those are the expectations I have on fantasy. And if I finish below top 10, I'm going to be disappointed. I'm going to be upset that I myself did not do enough research and did not use my experience in marble sports enough to choose the correct teammates. With that being said, the question is, did I choose the correct teammates? Because we have quite a weird first 3 races where the Savage Beaters come out in the first couple of races, and we have the hiccup in the first race, then we have the absolute disastrous performance in the second race, so bad to which that I would have preferred Rapidly didn't qualify at all. I mean, it was really bad. It was really, really bad. The kind of performance Rapidly, who did not live up to his name by any stretch of the imagination, gave us here in Race 2 of the Marble League. But they turned it around in a big way in Race 3, not only qualifying, running fast, but taking first place, even outing the Bumblebees, who, as Greg repeatedly said during the race, thrive in their best in the hive section of the track, by which only that track will even have a hive section. So it was impressive that the Savage Speeders were able to weave themselves around all those competitors and turn things around from such a disastrous first couple of races. And so the question is, the big question on the table, the topic of the night, you could say, is, are the Savage Speeders for real here? Are they going to really turn this around and turn it uphill and reinstate themselves as a top 5 team in the Marble League in the next few races? Or was this one kind of super passionate revenge race from Speedy because of that difficulty in the first race, but then they're going to plateau off, and then they'll maybe end up in the top half, but they're not going to be the team we saw last year? Wof, why don't you give us your thoughts on that, and then I'll give mine.
Okay, so I think that the Savage Speeders were just in a slump, and like that this will be more indicative of how they'll be doing going forward. Because this is the Savage Speeders we're talking about here, people.
It is
like the idea that they won't be doing good at the end is so alien to this series that it doesn't it's just, I can't imagine it. It's just ridiculous. I think they've proven time and time again that the Speeders are a top tier team, and they've always finished near the top. So I'd say that it is pretty dang likely that they will be near the top again. Top 5 maybe? Not sure, but I think that actually, you know what? It's the Speeders. Who knows, man?
Yeah, maybe they might win again. That's a good point. And we should, when we consider this question, we can only consider the past. We can only consider what we've previously seen from the Speeders. And while they did have these 2 bad races, what are we used to with the Speeders? Well, we're used to what we saw in race 3, this absolute incredible domination, this ability to make these comebacks and to just always be the marble that can get around other marbles, the marble that can stand up and beat even the best racer in a current race. So honestly, the Savage Speeders, to me, I'd have to predict, if I have to say either way, they gotta be ascending back to top 5 at this point. However, I'm gonna leave a possibility that it's still not necessarily there, because we've only seen Speedy do well. And even in the race that the Savage Speeders suffered from, that was unlucky as opposed to bad skill. I mean, it was they got stuck in the conveyor belt. That's kind of unlucky. That was with Speedy. I mean, the only thing we've seen from Rapidly is probably some of the worst Marbula 1 racing I've ever seen in my life. I mean, there hasn't been much Marbula 1 to watch, but still, you saw Rapidly in the previous video. He wasn't good. It wasn't like Snowstorm in the previous race. Snowstorm is a perfect example of a marble with potential, but couldn't channel that potential well. Because if you look at Snowstorm and from race 2, Snowstorm battled from the back of the pack all the way up to second place, which is incredible. A pretty big jump in placements. Unfortunately, Snowstorm immediately, as soon as he got up to second, stayed there for about half a lap and then descended from second down to back where he started in 12th. So it ended up coming out in the wash, but that shows potential. That shows, okay, you have the ability to get up there. You just didn't hold that position when you got there. Rapidly had none of that. Rapidly was bottom the whole time. Didn't move. Couldn't even get around Lime and the Cobalts, for crying out loud.
Yeah.
That's pretty bad.
That's pretty bad.
I mean, Wof. I mean, dude, that's pretty bad.
It is. It's,
I mean,
it's weird. It's very strange.
It is. It was. And strange is the word for it, isn't it? Because we're not used to that from the Savage Speeders. And actually, if we go to Marbula 1 Season 1, maybe we can get a reading on the specific marbles. If you look, Rapidly was 6 overall. So Rapidly lauded the 2 silver medals for the team. Did pick up a 0-point race, though, so we don't want to forget that. And then did have a 6-point race, but still had 2 silver medals. So, I mean, we have to wait and see, is my answer. Yes, I lean towards the fact that the Savage Speeders will continue in the way they always are, and they'll be good, and they might be top 5, they might be top 3, they could be top 1. But we need to wait and see. We need to wait and see.
Oh my gosh. I don't think we've been over each other this many times in a long time.
No, go ahead, Wof. I mean, we want to hear it. We want to hear it.
Maybe Rapidly was like kind of psyched out by what happened in the first race to Speedy, you know? Like while the doctors did report back like before that race that he was making a full recovery, which was nice, but like maybe like they were kind of worried about the race going forward, like worried for their own safety, and maybe they weren't fully there psychologically. But now that Speedy's come back with a vengeance, that might be the motivational boost that Rapidly needs.
Yeah. I think that you make a good point, and I think that is one of the main reasons that for me, I lean that the Savage Speeders will be good in the coming races, but I will hold out on making a final prediction until I see Rapidly compete again, because yes, it's a lot of stress, a lot of difficulty, a lot of general concern in the Savage Speeders bench, or whatever you want to call it, Savage Speeders locker room, about Speedy, about that malfunction, maybe some risen tempers about the malfunction in the belt and the lack of compensation for the speeders in that race. So you definitely need to give Rapidly that one race. But for me, the determination of whether the Savage Speeders will be a top 5 team by maybe race 8, race 10, or not, is how Rapidly does in race 4. That is the determination for me, and that's when I'm going to really be able to make that decision of what I think about that.
I guess the other thing to talk about is Momo. Like, they're still going strong, and it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's insane.
Can't say I'm happy because Momo is not my fantasy choice, but I mean, Momo's not in my least favorite teams, and I respect Momo as your preferred team. So I'm happy for you, and I am content with Momo's performance. It's good to see other teams up there, and yes, Momo is a standout because Momo is kind of like, in my opinion, like the quiet Limers. You know, the Limers are very boisterous and loud about how bad they are, but the Momo's kind of a little bit better, but not much better, but no one really notices that they're bad. They're kind of slip into the badness. So to see them up here is nice. It's kind of like, it's kind of like a pleasant surprise. But, and in that, we should not forget, like, how good some of the other teams that are not noticed often are doing. Bumblebee's in 3rd place right now.
Yeah.
Team Primary in 6th place right now. That's a pretty good stratification of teams that we usually don't see good racing from. So Momo for me is the biggest surprise. You can't argue that.
I'm like, you said something good about a Hubalino team.
Yeah. Listen, the Mini Maniacs have a special place of hatred in my heart because
why?
I don't know. I mean, like, I have to hate some team, and the Mini Maniacs, I kind of started not liking them, and then you know how, like, it's better for sports to always have a team you hate. So I'll hate the Mini Maniacs. Why not? They're maniacs anyway.
I guess, like, I don't know if I have one I hate. Like, I think I dislike the Limers, but like I don't really like.
Imagine
like,
disliking
I don't,
the Limers.
Actually, I don't. Actually, that's not an accurate statement at all. Like, I don't think I even say I dislike them. I just don't think highly of them. Like, I don't really think I have a team where I'm like, oh yeah, like I hope you lose or I hope you don't do good. Like I don't think I have that kind of mindset for this. Like I've never really thought about it, but like I don't think I actually have a team where I'm like, yeah, like there's like those kobolds or those
Yeah, the
thunderbolts.
kobolds are bad. No, I get that.
I guess like I kind of like I don't like maybe the fan bases of the Savage Speeders and the Rangers sometimes, but that's the fan base, not the team itself. Like those are the most popular teams, like therefore they have some of the most vocal fan members who don't always have the nicest things to say.
Yeah. I want to point out something else here, and then I'm going to address something our live chat mentioned. And we should all be aware of this, like, a lot. Like, you should be aware of this when watching Marbula 1 this year. If you look at the Savage Speeders' overall performance in last year, okay, you have 1 gold, you have 2 silvers, you have a bronze. That's in 8 races. So if you give the Savage Speeders the benefit of the doubt, you can give them maybe 1 more gold and at best 1 more bronze over 12 races. So maybe over 12 races in season 1, they get 2 golds, 2 bronzes, 2 silvers. Fair, Wof? Seems fair to me.
About, I guess, like just for a hypothetical, I suppose.
Yeah, so 5 or 6 medals, maybe, actually, right? Maybe 6 at best, 5 at worst, over 12 races from season 1. If you go over to the crazy cat size here, only 3 races, and we're 1/4 of the way through the season. We have 9 races to go. So we have a whole Marbula 1 season 1 plus 1 more race in races to go. The crazy cat size already have 3 medals completing the cycle: gold, silver, bronze.
Yeah.
I don't even have to see any more races to tell you that the crazy cat's eyes are performing considerably better than even the Savage Speeders of Marbula 1 Season 1 this year in Marbula 1.
Yeah, I know that we've been very vocal about the fact that like we are kind of like burnt out on all the Marbula style races that we've seen this year. But like, admittedly, like I have to admit my bias, like because Momo is doing good, my enjoyment is higher. But I feel like I am enjoying these races more than I did earlier this year for season 1.
There's a lot of reasons for that. I mean, I'm enjoying them a lot more. At least for me, back when Marbula 1 was starting, the first one, there was a whole whirlwind of drama surrounding, of course, Fubica, and I was doing marble circuits. It was the same time, and there was a ton of drama. It was the beginning of the pandemic, so people were pretty down, and like, because things are always the worst when a terrible thing like that begins, because it's not only it's complete life change. I mean, now we're like, the pandemic's still bad, but we're really into it. We're like 8 months into it. Vaccine news is coming out. We're feeling a little bit better. We're feeling at least used to it, and like it's coming out of it. There was a lot of negativity, and especially even on the podcast with the whole Fubica thing and all the stuff going on there. Just a lot of general like confusion back then. So yeah, Marbula 1 season 1 kind of seemed like good, but also like I wasn't into it as much.
Yeah, I guess I didn't think about that, but like, yeah, the atmosphere like of our lives at the time was not the best. Like with everything going on, like, it was definitely more negative than normal, and I think that I didn't think about that. That probably could have fed into our enjoyment of the first season.
It definitely did. It definitely did. But I mean, here in season 2, I am enjoying it a lot more. I think the second season of anything Marble Sports the JMR does is always a little bit better because they just are more used to what's going on. They're more ready for it. And I also love to see some of the not so important teams or not so recognized teams. They're all important. Not so recognized teams doing well. It's crazy. It's nice. Well, obviously, I'm a Crazy Cat's Eyes fan. I'm wearing the hoodie right now. If you go to the YouTube right now, I'm wearing the hoodie. All right, Crazy Cat's Eyes are my favorite team, then followed, of course, by Mellow Yellow and the Limers. But Crazy Cat's Eyes is number 1. And so to see them doing this year, even though my fantasy team isn't the best out there right now because the Savage Beaters are bad and I bet on the Snowballs, seeing the Crazy Cat's Eyes doing what they're doing right now is awesome for me. I paid for this hoodie, man. I want to see them perform, and they are. So, but I think it should be recognized that as of right now, if they continue with the path they're going right now, Crazy Cat's Eyes are going to finish quite a bit better than the Savage Speeders it did in Marbula 1 Season 1. I mean, look at the points right now. Right now, I mean, yes, the points are a little bit higher in this season. You're getting 20 for a silver and 16 for a bronze. But, I mean, the Crazy Cat's Eyes already have 62 points after 3 races. You take away maybe 5 points or 10 points. I mean, they're over 50 points after 3 races, and the Savage Beaters got to 101 after 8. The Crazy Cat's Eyes are not just good this year in Marbula 1. They are tearing it up. They might put up the best Marbula 1 performance this year that we've ever seen and may see for a long time. So even though the Savage Beaters are always on the radar, even though Momo's out there, even though there are other teams that could come back, the Crazy Cat's Eyes, they're a good chance to win this year already, and likely will have the best performance ever in Marbula 1 for quite a long time. That is something to be recognized.
I mean, like, maybe something I just noticed though, like it has been like a steady decline in placement for each race, I know more likely that's not going to be like the indication of how it's going to go for the entire season. But like it is kind of interesting how like it's just like slowly, like by a little bit, they had a worse performance each time.
I mean, when you get first place, the only place you can go is down, right? It's kind of like being the king in Foursquare.
Fair enough.
You can't go any higher than that, so you're just waiting to fall off. And you can't knock a second or a bronze. You can't.
No, I'm not. I'm just like pointing out, like I'm pointing out just like for future reference, like for future Wof to be like really like if it happens where it's a consistently a steady decrease by 1 place each time. Future
that would
Wof
be
can
interesting.
Be like, super excited. He's like, because past Wof called it somehow.
All right, if past Wof calls it, future Wof can be excited. I mean, someone editor person,
I wouldn't be excited.
That recorded
I
in
love
case
the
we can bring that around in the future.
I mean, I love the Cat's Eyes too, so I actually wouldn't really be happy about that. But like, my future Wolf would be kind of like ecstatic, like he somehow managed like to call something that was potentially happening at the time before, without really realizing that it was actually a thing.
There is always the pleasure, no matter whether you like the team or not. There's always the pleasure of making a correct prediction. There's always a pleasure in that.
I don't know if I'd say I'm predicting that, but I just
a correct possible call.
A possible call, but I predict that that they're gonna finish top 3. I feel like that's a very safe that's a pretty safe bet at this point, that the Cat's Eyes will not be leaving the podium.
I don't see them leaving the podium. Yellow Eye is their best racer, by the way. Yellow Eye is so far in my eyes a better racer than Red Eye. Though Red Eye was also very good at making up ground in race 2. So I want to wait and see. We will have hopefully discussion in the future towards race 8, comparing Red Eye and Yellow Eye and which racer we think is better. That would be a fun argument to have, because right now I lean Yellow Eye, because of the fact that to hold a first place lead for a full race like that is very difficult to do, no matter how good of a racer you are. But Red Eye could prove to be just as good, if not better. So we gotta wait and see. I lean Yellow Eye. I think Yellow Eye is absolutely amazing out there right now. I'm probably the first 2 races that Yellow Eye has competed in have probably been the best 2 races any marble possibly has ever raced in Marbula 1. So I mean, it really is true, especially considering that the Savage Speedy was the best marble last year. And Speedy did come away with a 1 gold, 1 bronze after the 8 races. And Yellow Eye, 2 races in, already has a gold and the bronze. Already is equal with the accomplishments of Speedy, the best singular racer from season 1.
Yeah, I think a run race for is that Mimo also had a similarly impressive race like Yellow Eye did. Like where like the only lap that they did not lead was the first one, but in that one they were second place. After that, Mimo led every single lap of the second race for the entire thing.
Yeah, and that's why, in my opinion, Mimo is your second best overall racer right now, not Red Eye. Well, I think Mimo is in Marbula 1 Season 2, Yellow Eye and Mimo. Those are your top 2 singular racers.
How many laps did Yellow Eye lead? Was it
the whole time?
The whole time.
Every one.
Did they have the pole at the beginning?
I don't remember if they had the pole, but as soon as they got there, they led it. So it was at least in like the
Gotcha.
first lap, second lap forward.
Mimo, like I gotta say, like, Mimo is all like in the past I've always like viewed Mimo as like the lesser Momo because he doesn't follow the name scheme of like Momo. It's like, oh, Mimo, like it's the fill-in, but like
he was the backup, but I mean, like he shines here in Marbula 1.
Yeah, like and like Mimo wouldn't be on the team if they weren't good. Like they like none of these marbles would not be here if they were not at least good, at least compared
Think
to
of all
the rest
marbles
of the
that
world.
aren't on the team.
Yeah, like it's like Mimo like really is like really good, and they've done good in other events too. Like, and I need to really like stop like get my bias and like really just like acknowledge that Mimo's greatness. Like Mimo is just as good as any other Momo marble. They have their strengths, they have their weaknesses.
Well, in Marbula 1, I mean, let's not say anything about Marble League here now, do we?
Well,
I mean,
Mimo has had, I can't remember which events, but Mimo has had good performances in Marble League before. I want to say like long jump one time, but I'm dude, my brain is so hazy on Marble League knowledge.
Hazy, that's the name of a hazer marble.
But I got a lot of school stuff in my mind, a lot of other project plans I have. Like my brain space is just like taken up by so many other things. Like, I just don't have enough room to remember everything that Mimo's ever done.
Yeah. Okay. Couple things before we go to trivia, because we're cresting the half hour here. Couple of things I want to mention, and then we'll get out of here to the trivia. First of all, one other team I want to mention is the Snowballs.
Yes.
The reason I want to mention is the Snowballs is because the Snowballs were really good last year. Let's not forget they finished 4th overall. Snowy was the second best racer overall. So they are pretty good, but my worry with the Snowballs this year is their lack of consistency. All right, obviously, if you watch Snowstorm in race 2, like I said before, had a point where he got from like 12th all the way up to 2nd, but then lost it right back to 12th by the end of the race. It was painful to watch. And then Snowy's been good, but Snowy's been often like we've seen blips of Snowy up there in the top 3. He would be up there, you'd see him racing, but then he would drop down and he gets stuck in 5th place. He gets stuck in 7th place like he did in the previous race. So, I mean, Snowballs are a team. They are my ×3 multiplier. I thought they were going to come out of their shell this year. I did not expect the Crazy Cat's Eyes to be this good this year, even though I really like the team. But it's hard for me to really place where the Snowballs are going. We have 9 races left, and many marbles could get really good or really bad over the next 9 races. But Snowballs, I gotta say, I gotta see more. I really am not a big... I don't know. I don't know where the Snowballs are going to roll. I don't know where they're going to roll. I mean, right now, they seem like a solid 7th kind of team right now. They're in 7th overall, and they feel like a solid 7th. Like, they're not going to budge much upwards or downwards. I'd like to be wrong. Because for my ×3 multiplier, I need them higher. But, I mean, you know what I'm saying? But I don't know what's going to happen with them.
Well, I mean, like if you look at the Snowballs like past records with racing events, be it like track racing on Marble Drome or like sand races and snow races, they are always really at the top, if not always, almost always on the podium. Like, so like they this is like stuff that they shine at, and like the fact that they can jump up so many places is a very big indicator of that skill. It just seems that they have difficulty holding it sometimes, or like they really need to get that lead earlier.
Yeah, and consistency and maintaining a lead is more important actually than getting a lead, because I mean, of course, if you have a 22-lap race and you spend the first 21 laps of the race working from 16th place, and you work like a dog, you work from 16th up to first place in the first 21 laps, then you go into lap 22 and you lose every place and you end in 16th. Yeah, I mean, some people will notice the comeback you made from 16th to first. But I mean, what does it matter if you end in last place? If you were first at our other point in the race, it doesn't matter. So, I mean, the Snowballs for me, I mean, yes, they're good, and they've showed that they can be good, but they need to show that they can be good and keep being good throughout a race. They need to be able to maintain. They need to be able to get out in front like Mimo and Yellow Eye did and really hold a race, because that's going to be what shows that the Snowballs are a team that aren't a 7th place team and are a top 3. Because right now they're a 7th place team in my eyes. the way they've been racing. They race good, they end okay.
Yeah.
If they're not, they need to be a top 3 team. They need to get out there and really maintain a lead.
Yeah. We didn't really talk about the track. I feel like it's just
the
better.
track. Yeah.
It's better Hornets, whatever the Hornets course was called. Like I feel like the ending section leading into the near the conveyor belt, like the little W. I think that's the same. And of course the honeycomb section is exactly the same. But the spiral, the figure 8 section at the top is, in my opinion, better. And it makes it more interesting to watch. Like. I think this one, like, it was just basically better Hornets Nest thing, whatever the name of their track was. I don't remember.
Honeycomb.
No, the honeycomb is this one. I meant the Hornets track from season 1.
Oh, Hive Drive,
right?
Hive
Drive.
Drive.
Better. In my opinion, it's better Hive Drive.
Woo! Hive Drive. Sorry, that was way too much for that. Yeah. I am gonna touch on the track in a second because I can't believe I didn't talk about the track because I always have a lot to say about the track and I'm actually not happy with this track in some ways, but I'm really happy in other ways. One thing I want to mention quick, and Wof, only pipe in on this one if you have a different opinion because, well, we want to get to the trivia and the emails.
Right.
Richard, in our first and only mod in the YouTube live chat, by the way, congratulations to Richard getting mod in the YouTube live chat. He's been here every week. Well, you're a host. What do you want?
I know.
He's been here every week since a long time ago. I can't even count how far back he's been. He comes every week. He's very active listening to the show, and he's been just a great fan to have. So he's received the first one that's not Wof, co-host of the show, to receive mod in the YouTube live chat. He does pose a interesting question. I'm going to cover it quickly. He says, if you could replace your worst I'm assuming fantasy team. If you could replace your worst, but you'd lose half your points from your top teams, would you do it? I'm going to assume, I don't know what you mean there, but I'm assuming you're saying of the 5 picks of my fantasy, if I could replace my worst performing team, but I lose half of my fantasy points, would I do that?
If we replace our worst team, I probably would double my points. So you wouldn't be losing points.
No, he was saying like you could choose to replace your worst team
right now.
in the fantasy right now, but you would have to right now cut your points in half.
I don't think it's worth it because I've been consistent.
I don't either.
I'm looking at the Hive Drive now, and maybe I was too quick to say. Like, maybe Hive Drive is still better. Like, it does have a longer honeycomb section, but the track, like, I think the track is overall longer. But it also like it. I like the Hive the Bumble Dome. Was
Bumble Dome. I think it's like the Honey Dome or something.
The Honey Dome. Jeez, oh my gosh, all these bee things. Like the Honey Dome, like I think was more interesting. Like if you remember, like my favorite moment, I think it was like seeing like when Momo like Momo would have like 3 marbles like in that turn. Like the turn is designed in a way like where like a marble can actually go on the inside or not just force on the outside of the lane, and like that's where you can get like really cool overtakes.
No, yeah. I think you're right. I enjoy this track. Before I touch on the track, I do want to answer Richard's question too, because you kind of answered it and then just continued. Well, if you didn't let me answer that question either. But I do want to say, okay. Oh, okay. So you're saying, Richard, that he clarified perfect timing. I would lose half of the points my top fantasy team gained, and if I was able to replace my worst team. That changes things because, okay, I will say this: if it was half of my total points for the worst team, absolutely not, because it would just be so many points gone, and obviously you have no idea how your teams are going to do. But if you said to me right now, my top performing team, I believe, is the Snowballs overall with 68 points because of the ×3 multiplier or something like that. So if I had to cut the Snowballs points that they've gained me in half to replace my worst team, I would definitely do that right now because my worst team has 2 points. I mean, so I'm like I would eat those half Hazers points and replace the Hazers with like someone who's doing good right now, like Momo or Bumblebees or something like that. Because I really think because we have 9 races left, it's probably going to pay off. Because all I would have to gain back, I think the Snowballs had me 68 points, so the half of that would be 34. I think that the worst team that I replace, if I replace it with Momo or something, that new team would gain me back 34 plus points. So definitely would do that. But to touch on the track, because Wof just mentioned his thoughts on the track, I like the track. I do think it was good. I did enjoy the track. But there's a big problem with this track, and it bothers me because it's always JMR. JMR has been doing this for all of Marbula 1, and it really bothers me because I feel like it does detract from the interesting aspect, the varietous aspect of each of the tracks. And I feel, for example, I'll give you an example. If you take today's track, I think the track, it's not today, it was yesterday or 2 days ago, whatever. If you take the Honey Dome, I think it was a well-designed track. You had a couple of straights. You had that waggle section that Greg called it, where you go around in the figure eight or whatever. And then you had that kind of one turn with the W that was like padded or something. And then you have, of course, the little hive. My biggest problem with this track is the fact that the hive and the idea of the hive seemed like an afterthought to the track, and it bothers me because for me, if you're gonna go out of your way to allow different teams in Marbula 1 to host the tracks, then you should really highlight the different features that you're gonna add to each track in each race. And I don't feel it was not done in the Honey Dome. And I feel like the only track that I've seen so far across all the Marbula 1 races we've seen that highlights a feature to the extent it needs to do that is the O Raceway, and that's only because when you make the sand rally thing in the O Raceway, it just makes sense for them to make it really big. But go ahead, Wof, and then I'll continue.
Sorry, you really raised a good point that I didn't really think about. Like, and now I'm like, the Hive Drive is actually kind of a better track in that respect, because like the Hive takes up far more of the track in comparison to the Honey Dome. And like, I guess if they had like one or two more like honeycomb sections, or maybe just make that one bigger.
Honestly,
divide it up. Yeah, divide it up.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm thinking. You are speaking the words by which are in my head.
That would make it so much more interesting. Like, I think like the first course, like I think that one bank turn, I think that was enough. Like, also, like, it was pointed out that while it's not exact, it is kind of inspired by a real life track. That one, I don't know if they're still doing that. Like,
I know they're doing that. I haven't decided what I think about that. We'll think about that later as far as the designed after real tracks. I guess it helped. I guess some people noticed it and like it. Yeah. But my thing is this:
was the sand enough in the O Raceway though?
Yes, I think like I said, the O Raceway is the only course I think goes to the extent necessary to really theme correctly course. Here's my problem with the Hive Drive: two things. Hive Drive, Honey Dome, whatever. Number one, they removed the point of the hive in the Honey Dome. And that bothered me a lot. I know I'm yelling randomly. Think about it. Did you not notice? Yes, I know the Gravitrax is a different terrain. It's a different feeling. So yes, in a sense, the hive still had its purpose. But did you notice the hive had on the either side of those, where we had the line of hexagons, on either side there was a straight bar covering the borders, so that on the sides, when they went into the hive, the sides were smooth. It was like a straight border. That, to me, and there was also no like pieces of Gravitrax in the center of the hive to cause any division or anything. No, like, kind of like almost like a track splitter kind of purpose. And I feel that ruins the hive, because what it does, it's like, okay, we're gonna have this hive down, this gonna be hive. I know visually it looks good, and it's gonna have a little bit different terrain, but we're gonna take the kind of rigid back and forth borders to the Hive Drive that would really mess with the marbles and change the race. We're gonna cover those over because they put a slight thing, and then they didn't put anything in the center to kind of split the marbles apart either. So it's kind of like you ever see in like kind of like in old Mario Kart courses, how they would have a track feature that was like, it looked really cool, but like the terrain when you drove over it wasn't any different. You know what I'm saying? Like, it felt like that. Like they kind of, it was barely affecting the marbles, but it was only visual. That was a big problem for me. I think that if I were to make it, maybe not put any splits through the middle, but I would have liked to see them not put those straight borders along the side, to let the hexagon kind of jagged edges kind of be the border of the High Drive. Number one. one. Then number two, I agree with you. They should have had two, at least, probably three different sections along the honey dome or whatever. I keep saying High Drive. It's Honey Dome. That had three different short sections of Hive, because that would make sense. Imagine if a team called the Bumblebees designed their own course. I mean, like, it's going to have a lot more Hive aspect. It just kind of seemed like your average track with a feature thrown in it just because they feel the need to. So, I mean, it kind of, I don't know, that bothers me. Obviously, the track wasn't bad. The race was great. I love JMR. I mean, I'm not knocking JMR as bad. I'm just saying, like, this is what I'd like to see. This is the difference for me between a good Marbula 1 course, a good Marbula 1 season, and a great Marbula 1 course and season. That, literally, two sections of Hive, you take the borders away, so you have the hexagons be the edges, you've made my day. And it's a 10 out of 10. Actually, we should do the thing where we rated. Remember, we rated the Marbula 1 events.
Oh yeah, because we did.
We should rate the tracks out of 10 too. First one for me. I'll just do all three. I'll do all three, and then you'll do all three.
Okay.
First one for me will be for me actually is a 7 out of 10 because I really like the bank turn. And I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10 because even though there wasn't many features besides that, the bank turn, in my opinion, was the first time it was introduced, and it was obviously very well done. I really enjoyed that. Second race for me, Raceway is always one of my favorites. I give it a 9 out of 10. And then this one for me, Hive Drive, for me is a 6 out of 10. Because, well, I think the Hive Drive course itself, the idea of the shape of the course was designed very well. I think there could have been many more things they could have done to really theme that correctly. So why don't you go ahead, Wof, and then we'll be heading to the trivia.
Yeah. I think so. Yeah, it would be I think a 7 out of 10 for the minty one. Oh man, where's my mind today?
You're all over the place. Yeah, all over the place, Wof.
I think 8 for a Raceway, and then the more you talk about it, I think it's 6 for the Honey Dome. Just like while I think admittedly, yeah, like the High Drive section did actually make more of a difference than this one did, but like in the middle, like you probably didn't notice, but there is like a lip, like the hexagon lips where they kind of follow a bit. It's like, I guess if they hit it at the right angle, they could get split up a little bit more. But I do get what you're saying. Like it's too short to really truly
too short and it's not doing enough to really change up the terrain.
I get that. So I guess thinking about it now in retrospect, it is a bit more disappointing than I remembered. So I think maybe 6 might be a number I give it.
Very, very disappointing for me. If I was in a worse mood, it would have been a 5. I mean, honestly, I feel like JMR shies away from variation on the track. The way they do it, I always feel like they would rather just have a plain track for whatever reason, but they're gonna put this little feature to keep the fans happy or whatever. I don't know, but that's how it always feels. And I want to see more features. I want Mario Kart. All right, that's what I want. I want features to be exploited to the max. When I hear Honey Dome, I hear hexagons almost the whole. Not the whole track, but you know what I'm saying. I hear a lot of hexagons. I hear hexagons, I hear a couple random Gravitrax hexagons in the middle there to split in random parts of the track. I hear 3 sections of Hive,
I think it might be a bit excessive. Like it would need to be a lot bigger, I think.
Three at most. But I mean, you know what I'm saying. I hear more. I hear a real makeover on the course to really bring out the honeycomb aspect of it, to really bring out the bumblebees charm of it. Anyway, that's my thoughts on that. We better head to the trivia. We got not much time and a lot to cover still. Let's head to the trivia and we'll play the music and we'll see you there. Blah, blah, blah. Music.
Now it's time for the trivia segment. Come on now, let's go, go, go. Go, go, go.
Did it play? I think it played. So, Hey, welcome to the trivia, everybody. This is where we ask trivia questions and answer them, and you can answer them at home. And maybe you'll get them right, and maybe you won't. We're actually running far on time again, so I think what we'll do is I was sent a bunch of trivia questions, but we're gonna say Richard emailed me one that I didn't cover. Maybe we'll cover it in the fan email anyway. And then I have 2, so we'll have to cover these quickly, okay? So I'm gonna do these 2, and then we'll do yours, and then we'll head right back. We don't want to spend too much time here this time. Okay. So from S-Man, thank you S-Man for submitting a trivia. Remember, you can submit a trivia if you join the Discord and you send me a trivia during the live show, or email me a trivia question. I will also read it on the show as well. MSWpodcast@gmail.com. Okay, trivia. How many different teams have landed on the podium so far in Marbula 1 Season 2?
Ooh.
That's a good question. I think I can name that if I remember the podium correctly. Obviously 9 medals were distributed so far. We know Crazy Cat's Eyes have 9 podium places distributed so far. I don't know if they give medals for that.
Brendan,
Crazy Cat's Eyes.
Don't look at the computer.
What?
Because like you have the page up for it.
Oh no. Oh, I'm not even looking at the Chrome right now,
Okay.
so I don't actually know. I have the Discord page up and then the streaming page up for YouTube. So yeah, I wouldn't cheat like that. Okay, so that would take the fun out of it, Wof. It would take the fun out of it. So now I'm trying to think. Okay, Crazy Cats, 9 were distributed. Crazy Cats has got 3 of them. Momo's got 2 of them. Savage Speeder's got 1 of them. So that's 3 teams. That's 6. And then I believe the other 3 were across probably 3 different other teams. So I'm going to go with 6 total teams have landed on the podium. It might be 5 though. I'm going to go with 5 actually. Pretty sure it's 5. It could be 6. I don't know. I'm going to go with 5.
1, 2, 3, 4. I think 6. I think it was 6.
All right, Wof's going 6. I'm going 5. We got 6. Why did I change my answer? I always do that. I don't know. I was feeling fine. CCE, Momo, Speeders, Galactic Ducks, Balls of Chaos. Apparently, I was right with 6.
I heard Galactic Ducks, Balls of Chaos.
Yeah. Oh, CCE, Momos, and Speeders too.
Oh man. All
right, we're gonna jump right into the next one already. I have 2, so I'm just gonna do this quickly.
So do I.
I submitted from Akananon. Akanon. Trivia. Which 2 marbles so far have not qualified for Marbula 1 race yet, specifically from races 1 and 3, since otherwise it would be 6 marbles, of course.
I think it was no, not Minty, because they qualified for this race. Limers? No. First, wait. They didn't.
Jungle Jumpers. Jungle Jumpers have not. I saw Jungle Jumpers.
Azure from Cobalts.
Yeah. So Azure and Hop.
Azure and Hop.
Azure Hop. Azure and Hop is the answer. We
All
got that right.
right.
Wow, it's a team effort, Mr. Wof. We're Marble Sports connoisseurs to the max.
Yes, indubitably.
I
need a monocle. I need a monocle.
That's a great dude. Come to the show with a monocle one time. If I had one, I'd wear it. All right. Anyway, go ahead.
All right, so
do your 2 quickly.
I got Toady one has sent in some questions. All right, so first, the easy one. So, which marble has the nickname "Our Darling," referring to the posters? Clementine, Mary, Rojo Dos, or Razzie? I think it's Clementine because
that sounds like Clementine.
Because Darling is a Texan thing.
You know, isn't that like a song? Oh,
Darling is a Texan thing.
Clementine. That's totally a song. That's a song from something.
All right, the answer is
from like old cartoons or something.
Clementine.
Yeah, I figured. It's from something. There's some like song about that where they go, "Oh my darling Clementine" or something like that. You guys know that, right? Yeah, it's a song.
Cason's confused. I thought it was orange, and are we like he seems very adamant about it.
It's definitely gonna be Clementine. You go check the poster. There was no if it's orange and not Clementine, then I'm just gonna be so confused.
He confirmed it. I was like, are you sure? But like,
yeah, it would definitely be Clementine.
Now we got second question. We got the medium one. Which marble team actually won the most races in season 1? Bonus: how many? Savage Speeders, Team Galactic, Hazers, or Snowballs? Now, I think it's not Savage Speeders because that's just too obvious.
Wait. What is the question?
Which marble team actually won the most races in Season 1? And bonus for how many? And the way it's worded, it's pretty obvious that it's not Savage Speeders. Like who actually...
Well, Savage Speeders only won 1 race because we were talking about those stats earlier. So I believe the second place team won the most races because we were looking at the stats earlier. So Hazers is a good answer. I would say Hazers. That's my answer.
So too. All right. How many? Guess how many?
2, I think.
3? I'll go with 3.
You could say 3, but I'll say 2.
The answer is Team Galactic with 2.
Oh, Team Galactic with 2. Okay, so I knew it was 2.
Interesting.
Yeah, it wouldn't have been 3. That would have been way too much.
And now here is the bonus super hard expert question for pros, as he's titled it. And the question is, what does ricochet mean?
Okay, so Rick O'Shea. All right. If you say the name quickly, you get ricochet, and that's what marbles do when they roll and bounce across the track. But if you instead say the name slowly, Rick O'Shea, it's the name of a commentator for Marbles Beyond. So it's kind of like that play on words by which the pun was created.
Interesting.
Ricochet. Limers. All right, we're good.
You could write a whole paper on that.
I could. I've said enough words about it, too. I would be repeating a lot.
I've embraced it at this point.
All right, well, let's get back to the show. We're going to end with some emails. Thank you guys for writing in. If you stay this long, you'll get to hear your email read. Please email us at mswpodcast@gmail.com and play that trivia music to bring us back to the show.
That was the trivia segment. Now let's head back to the show. The show! Oh!
All right, it's played. And we got emails to read today. I'm our email reader. I believe so. I believe that's my job. So we'll read these through and see what they have to say. We'll comment on them. We have a good 5 to 10 minutes left, so we'll cover them. So we have 3 emails this week. Well, we do have one from Richard. It's a 4th email.
A 4th one?
Yeah, well, I mean, it was early. It's more of a trivia question, and this is a very complex question.
Oh yeah,
so I want to hold this one until next week because I want to do this earlier because this question actually is pretty thought provoking, and I actually want to I don't want to only give this a minute. I want to give this at least 5-10 minutes to really contemplate. Okay,
so we're
gonna hold that one. Yeah, it's trivia question November 17th. So we're going to hold that one until next week. Just remind me, Wof. So let's read the other emails. So from DJ Lil Spicy, he writes in, "Hi, MSW Podcast. I wanted to talk Thunderbolts because I've been a fan of them since 2016. Good for you. The Thunderbolts always finish middle of the pack from what I remember." I love how he's using my terminology. Middle of the pack. In Marble 1 and in the Marble League. Sometimes they get a good finish and sometimes finish dead last, but do you think a change in their coach or something else would make a difference? It's a good question. They are one of the OG teams and have not gotten better over the time. If they chose not to make a change, what do you think their future would hold? These are good questions. P.S. I love your podcast. Thank you
so much.
From DJ Lil Spicy. All right. I'll take a stab at these questions real quick. Here's what I think. Thunderbolts don't need a new coach because they're not that bad. The only time a Marble team needs to reshuffle its staff is if the team is taken a huge dive in skill. Oceanics, a great example. Or is just generally terrible. Like the Limers should have a new coach probably. Thunderbolts are not that bad, so they don't need a new coach. They need new players. And so I don't know when that may be a possibility. But I think the Thunderbolts, if they want to go from where they are now to where they could be, and I think they could be as good as the Crazy Cat's Eyes, who are like, in my opinion, the Crazy Cat's Eyes are like the Thunderbolts, but 4 places higher. You know what I'm saying? Because Thunderbolts finish like 8th all the time, and Crazy Cat's Eyes seem to finish like 5th all the time. They need new players. Now, they should keep like 2 of their team, but they should bring in 2 new players, I think. Or even like, kind of shuffle things around. So bring in 2 off the bench and have them be the 2 mains and then put 2 on the bench. Because they don't have bad teammates. They don't need to fire their teammates, I don't think. But they need to shuffle things around. Maybe a different chemistry of players. Maybe as simple as in Marble League, choosing a different marble to compete in the events. Because they have the potential to perform well. They've actually performed well many times. And they weren't actually that bad so far in Marble 1. I mean, they're not doing great points so far, but they are in 8th place out of the 20 teams, which is not bad. I was reading the wrong thing. They are in 11th place out of the 20 teams, which isn't the worst considering there's 20 teams. They've qualified for every race. So I think they have potential to finish in the top half this year and May, and we saw some good moments where like Shock was up there in the top 5 racing in race 3. So I think it was Shock. So I mean, like they're good, but they need maybe a possible player reshuffle, maybe a different choice of who does what in the events. But yeah, I think their future will hold. Covering the second question, I think their future holds. They're not going to go down. I don't see them sinking down in skill, but I don't see them going up until they make some changes. They need to maybe bring in one new player, number one. Maybe that would be my suggestion. Bring in a new player. And then number two, I would say definitely consider just in Marble League, reshuffling who does what. Maybe send Shock out for a different event that he's never done before and do the same for the other people on the Thunderbolts. I don't know their names. I'm not a Thunderbolts fan. I'm sorry. But you know what I'm saying. Re-stratify who does what in the events and keep practicing. I mean, like they're in Marble League and it's hard. It's hard to get into Marble League. It's hard to be an elite team like this. So give them credit. You got to be patient. And there are a lot of teams worse. Don't forget that. And keep rooting Thunderbolts, and I'm sure they're going to work out okay in the future. So, Wof, anything you want to add to that, or you want me to move on?
So, I guess first question, like, were coaches a thing in 2016?
I don't know. I don't know.
And if they weren't, like, what do they was there adding in like work retroactively? Like, oh, they always had a coach.
I don't know. Well, okay, yes. I think it was always assumed that, yes, they were always coached when they weren't added in.
Confirmation from 2019 that they were first officially added to the canon.
But probably they were assumed to be there forever, but just not
yeah.
recognized because it was just starting. Like, they were, yeah. So I guess we should always assume within the lore that the coaches just were always there.
I'm also thank you. I was about to say, could you bring my face back up? Thank you.
Yeah. Sorry about that.
But I was tiny.
Tiny Wof.
Teeny tiny. But I think you're right. Like the coach does not need to be fired. But I don't think a new member needs to be. Like, members need to change either. I think it's like maybe new training regimens.
Maybe.
Or like,
I don't know.
I don't think like they like because I just said like they're not really that bad. So like I don't think it warrants like a whole like. Team member
maybe one new member, just to space things up. But I think it's really going to come down to they need more wisely pick who does what event in Marble League. That's what I think they need to do. Try something new. Because you're not doing bad, but you're not doing great. So how do you get to greatness when you're not doing bad? Not reshuffle your staff. You have good potential. You need to just change where that potential is lotted. So that would be my opinion on that.
I guess what is their future hold if they don't get move their coach or change their coach?
Yeah.
I think that like, I mean, admittedly I haven't paid a lot of attention to Thunderbolts, so I can't say what I would. It's not very accurate, but I feel like they'll continue to perform middle of the pack. I don't think because again while I guess coming out of the role play for a little bit, they are like they're the same marbles and like. Because nothing has really changed over the years with those marbles, they're probably going to continue to do the same as they always have. Because like, before, like you could say, oh, it's random chance, but with like 4 years of like data to go off of, the Thunderbolts have been performing like I think pretty consistently over the years. There's not really too much variance in their performance, so I think it might be safe to say that at this point, the Thunderbolts are just going to continue to do the same as they've always done.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. You might need a little bit of a change, not because anyone's doing bad, but because if you want to take yourself from a middle-of-the-pack team to a top team, sometimes changes have to be made. Moving on to the next email. Subject is marbles. What a subject. Imagine that. I'm not going to say the person's names. They don't want me to. Because they start the email with saying, please don't reveal my email or anything. Of course not. Also, this is coming from a Limas Oranges fan.
Those are two very different ends of the spectrum.
Yeah, very much so. He has bullet-pointed list here for me. Number 1, after race 3, Team Momo and KT Cat's are dominating. How long do you think it will be, if ever, until someone other than those two takes the lead?
They say race 7. For me, that's an interesting question.
Hard question.
What the total is? So the other team behind them is Bumblebees at 36. That's a decent gap. It can be filled quickly, but like that's gap. Still a gap.
Listen, bold prediction, but I think we're gonna see a possible new leader by race 6. If the Savage Beaters continue in what they're doing, or if in some of these other teams continue to be what they are. Bumblebees have been good, Green Ducks have been good, Snowballs have potential, a lot of teams with potential. I think you could see a new leader by 6, but to me, it's just going to be what the Crazy Cat's Eyes decide to do. I mean, they've been the best we've ever seen ever in Marbula 1, and so Crazy Cat's Eyes may not. So you might see a new leader by 6. I think you might, though you might not see one for the rest of the season, to be honest.
I mean, like, that is definitely what I would think too. I feel like that's what I'm feeling too, but like, if they had to say a number for some, like, I don't know why, but I'm feeling 5. It's like,
all right, if you think it's going to flip around that quickly.
It's only like 2 races away, so like that's not a lot of time to make it up. For some reason, like, I'm like, 5. Yeah, 5. I don't know why.
Okay. Yeah, and we'll see how it happens.
Oracle powers are working again.
Yeah, Wof powers. All right, number 2. During qualifiers for Season 1, Race 8, and Season 2, Race 1, there were incidents involving the Savage Speeders. Do you think they came out even?
They say yes, but what does that mean? I'm not sure.
Like, we won't know because we don't. This person's not here to tell us. But I'm gonna assume they mean. Do you think it kind of like balanced itself out? I mean, they both suffered in both of those things. I mean, I guess because the Savage Speeders got first in Marbula 1 Season 1. I mean, they're not complaining that much about the qualifiers problem. But I mean, so do you think should I mean, I guess I don't know what your question is, but if your question is more, should they worry about that one incident in the first race because of the incident, I would say no. They have a lot of races to do a lot of good racing. So for the Savage Beaters, don't worry. That's the best I can give you on that one. Number 3, after Red Number 3's incident, how concerned are you that the Savage Beaters may be different also? He says not very because the events are in different formats. However, they do perform particularly well in the racing formats. Okay, so the answer to that one, and I think Wof would agree with me on this, we deduced that Red Number 3's difficulty was the fact that he's not a keychain anymore. He went from being a keychain in the old times, and he was replaced with a Red Number 3 marble. That is a huge difference in the Savage Beaters just going into another season. So I would say no, you're not going to see a Red Number 3 problem this year from the Savage Beaters.
The chances that the Savage Beaters were replaced is pretty much 0%. I think it was velocity was replaced with someone like in the second year of Marble League. But like after that, there was the Savage Speeders have not been touched. They've been great. Yeah, and the only marbles that have had. Is this like remember the Pinkies? Like they had a different uniform, quote unquote, which that just means a different marble. You know, but like Savage Speeders, like those Pinkies, like the reason why they need to change is because like they look so similar to other marbles, so they need that change. Savage Speeders, very distinct, and they're like the biggest fan. They have the biggest fan base. So if they change the marble, people would pick up on it pretty fast. There's no reason. There's no reason to.
There's no reason to. That's what I'm saying.
There's no like it wouldn't happen by accident because Yella keeps them like in a separate place. Like if I'm not saying like he keeps them in the museum in a display case like for whenever like if they're open, they're not recording with them. They keep them very safe. I mean, I think
it's going to be fine. Yeah. Yeah,
so I don't think there's any chance that the Savage Speeders will ever have a marble either intentionally or unintentionally misplaced.
I mean, that's his question was more about their performance, but
he said, like,
good answer, I guess.
Well, he said that the reason for the bad performance was because Red Number 3 was different. He said, like, what are the chances that the same thing happened with the Savage Speeders, like causing the bad performance here? But
okay, I guess maybe possibly. I don't know, maybe possibly thing.
But yeah, that's not the reason. Whatever it is, causing their bad performance, it's not that they're different. That's for sure.
All right. Number 4, was the host curse ever real in lore? And if so, when did it die? You say, yes, it died in Season 1, Race 6 of the Short Circuit when Shock placed second. Host curse, in my opinion, never existed. Same. I think host curse became a rumor in 2019 because of the Oceanics, and because the Oceanics did terrible, and people wanted to pin it on something. But I think data shows that... And data shows both sides, where teams have just as much chance of doing terrible when they host as they have as doing good.
Exactly.
We've seen teams do great when they host, Bumblebees in the recent race. We've seen teams do bad when they host, Mini Maniacs in the first race. We've seen it all across the board. We've seen middle of the pack finishes on hosting. We've seen everything on hosting. My most upset thing about the host curse is definitely that Greg is talking about it in the videos like it's real. I know he's doing that to just keep the suspense up and be theatrical about it, but something I would like to see is that if Greg Woods is going to be the serious, well, he obviously is the serious top Marvel commentator for JMR. I want to see him at least be true to facts. So even though it's good to be theatrical and keep the suspense up, it bothers me that he persists like it's real. So I would like to see him stop saying that. Honestly, if I could say one thing to Greg Woods right now, if he was put in front of me for 10 seconds, I would say please stop with the host curse thing. Otherwise, he does way too good for anyone to ever possibly be as good as him. But otherwise, the host curse thing, in my opinion, and I guess in Woff's opinion as well, as he kept hyping me up during this conversation, is not real.
Yeah, we've said it in multiple occasions, like the Oceanics, they did terrible. They did pretty terrible in 2020 Marvel League as well. So like
they weren't that good then.
2019,
anyway, so it's like
it wasn't that they were hosting. And then like we mentioned in Marbula 1, like the teams that were doing bad who were hosting continued to do bad through the rest of the season too, or at least they were consistently bad in a lot of areas. Like Momo did improve in like the last 3 or 4 races, but at that time like they were just doing bad all the way up through there. So it wasn't like so. And that's not just for Momo, that's for all the other teams. Like they have like it's just random chance. There's never like I wouldn't even like in role play I wouldn't go as far as say there's a host curse. I don't like I wouldn't say that because again just like looking at data doesn't support it in my opinion.
All right. Yeah, I agree.
Data supporting, in my opinion, like that's the two conflicting things there. I guess I think it's facts at this point that there's no host curse.
Yeah. I couldn't agree more. Okay, last email, and then we're getting out of here. We got to roll through this one, Wof. So, a few questions for me, a few questions to you in this email. We got to just be quick, okay? All right. So, this one's from Comet Fan. He starts the email saying, "Kinda sad. I'm the only one sending emails." You're not. We got 2 new ones this week. I mean, so thank you to those other 2 people. Big sad, but no need to be sad. We got new people. So he said for Brendan. So these are for me, for Marble Guy. I'm Marble Guy. Okay. When do you think Geometry Dash 2.2 will come out? What a question. It's been years. Okay, so I play Geometry Dash very seriously. If you don't know, that's why he's asking me this. I think the update, even though it hasn't been out in 3 to 4 years almost, will be out either by the end of this year or by summer next year. There's been a lot of sneak peeks coming out, and there's been very visible activity from the guy, even though it's been forever. He's saying he's been working on it. So yeah, thanks for asking non-Marble questions. That's all right. I mean, it's okay to end the show like that. So GD's a big game in my life. So I'm glad that you also play it too. So I think it's gonna be soon, either Christmas or next summer. Do I like Gatorade? Yes, I do. Do you watch Jack and Jellyfy? I do not. Could you make an Among Us stream? Maybe, but if more people in the Marble Sports Worldwide server were interested in that and begged me for it, then I'd probably do it, but we'll see.
We set up a Twitch channel, but we were trying to do a game night thing, but it never I guess came to fruition because we were just so busy all the time.
We'll figure something out. We'll work on that in the future. If the podcast begins to grow and the community continues to flourish in the community, and we get to maybe 300 members and 1K subs, then we're going to consider more stuff like that. Do you like Dino Nuggets? Yes, Nuggets are the best. Does Wof have a bowling alley? I'm asking because I think if I asked him, he would say no. I think he does, but he says no. Why does? Why does is not a question that I can interpret.
I think it's not the question, but then it's questions for me. Are waffles or what waffles but spelled with my name served at your bowling alley?
Spelled WOFFLES.
Yes. If I had a bowling alley, then yes, they would be. Hey, you know what? In the Marvel universe, I have one. All right, how about that?
Yes, in the Marvel universe, Wof definitely owns a bowling
there's
alley.
artwork by Kaysen that shows that is true.
That's true. Yeah.
Fruit Loops or Apple Jacks? I would say Fruit Loops. I feel like they are. I think they're probably the same nutrition, but I think I feel healthier when I eat Fruit Loops. And I think I prefer the flavor of Fruit Loops. And yeah, I don't think I've you know how sometimes a piece of cereal will get really condensed and it's like almost like a rock when you try to bite into it. I think I've had that happen with Apple Jacks before, but I don't think that's happened with a Fruit Loop before. So I've only had really mostly positive experience with Fruit Loops. But whereas Apple Jacks, nothing. And I just remember there was a series of Fruit Loop cereals for this treasure hunt thing, like different themes, like these big old red, the red loops, the star blue ones. They do cool things in themes sometimes. Apple Jacks, I don't think has ever done anything. I think they've been the same thing forever. Like I
This
love
is the most Woff's ever talked.
honestly, I think it might be right there. But like, I
No.
love both of them. I keep them in my rotation as cereals, but like, Fruit Loops is definitely my preferred one.
Yeah.
And I think that was that it. Oh no. Yeah. Oh, P.S. Oh no. I think that's just for us. Yeah. So. Oh no. Sorry. I guess actually we can get the help of the audience. I guess like I actually have a marble identical to Sea Turtles from Marble Surrogates. What should I name him? I'm not
That's a
really
good question.
sure. We could definitely have like guess fan input if they want to.
I don't know. Comment on if you're watching on the YouTube, or if you're not, go to the YouTube episode and comment. What do you think you should name a marble? Sea Turtles from Marble Circuits is a tealish marble with kind of like white stripes, I think, or something like that. A lot of teal in there, maybe some darker stripes. So you're looking at like a tealish kind of like aqua looking marble. So with like some sort of striping. So if you're listening to the show and you're this far, go to the YouTube and comment a possible name, and maybe we'll read those comments next week, and he can get his name. We're gonna wrap it up from here, guys. We're overtime. That's why we've been kind of talking fast for the last 10 minutes. We are going to try to keep this at an hour, meaning an hour after the intro and whatever we do in the news. Then just an hour. It's an hour and 14 right now because we wanted to read your emails and give you guys time. But, I mean, there's so much going on in marble sports. It's hard to keep it in an hour, but we're going to try in the future. We're kind of move quickly. So, anyway, sorry about the episode being long. But if you really like the episode being long, then there you go. Free episode. So, I mean, whatever. But we're going to end up ending the episode now. We'll see you guys next week talking more marbles. We have race 4 coming up. And don't forget, please email, because your emails make the show the best. That make them, we get the fan engagement. We just got to read these 3 emails. We got all these awesome opinions from these awesome people, and you can be one of those awesome people, and you can email, you can repeat email too. You don't have to just do it once. If you want an email again, just do it again. There's always marbles rolling. Wof, take us away with the end of the episode. Let's get out of here. Woo, that was a big one.
All right. So to make up for, the Rickroll for last week, I gotta make it up to you. So here is the cover that I teased you with last week. I know, it's crazy. This is the 3rd week in the row we've had Wof Tunes, but like, I'm insane. Okay, I don't care. You know what? So here you go. Enjoy another Wof Tunes. We're starting off the season 4 really strong. This, like, I don't know. Roll on, Marvel Sports fans.
Oh. Make it count, play it straight, don't look back, don't hesitate when you go big time. What you want, what you feel, never quit and make it real when you roll big time. Oh, hey, listen to your heart now. Hey, don't you feel the rush? Hey, better take a shot now. Oh. Go and shake it up, what you gotta lose. Go and make your luck with the life you choose. If you want it all, lay it on the line. It's the only life you've got, so you gotta live it big time. Oh. Step it up, get in gear, go for broke, make it clear, gotta go big time. Make it work, get it right, change the world overnight. Gotta dream big time. Oh, hey, give it all you got now. Hey, isn't it a rush? Hey, finish what you start now. Oh. Go and shake it up, what you gotta lose. Go and make your luck with the life you choose. If you want it all, lay it on the line. It's the only life you got, so you gotta live it big time. Look around, every light is shining now. It's brighter somehow. Look around, nothing's really as it seems. Nothing but dreams. You and I gonna make a brand new to sound like we own this town. We can fly, now I made it off the ground and never looked down. Welcome to the big time. All the pretty people see me walking in the sunshine. Welcome to the good times. Life will never be the same. Go and shake it up, what you gotta lose. Go and make your luck with the life you choose. If you want it all, lay it on the line. It's the only life you got, so you gotta live it big time. Oh, 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 oh. Oh, 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 oh. If you want it all, lay it on the line. It's the only life you got, so you gotta live it big time.